Welcome to the Target Audience Research Training. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to find your exact ideal target audience so you can put your message in front of those people and start to get results. So step 3 in the 7-step process is target audience research. So step 2 in the 7-step process is target audience research. All right. But before we get into this, you want to be really thinking about who is your exact avatar, okay? What are they laying in bed at night thinking about? What they might not be searching on Google, but they might be, what keeps people awake at night, okay? You've got to really think about how you can get deep inside the head of your exact ideal audience. This is going to be key when it comes to deciding what to write on your ads, deciding what audiences to target, deciding what offers to create, okay? So what are some challenges, problems, desires, passions that they might have, okay? What are people really into? And what I mean by that is, if you're targeting golfers, for example, you might, some people might think, oh, let's target Tiger Woods. Well, Tiger Woods, yes, he used to be the best golfer in the world, but he is a worldwide celebrity, right? He's an icon. And so you have a lot of mass appeal there, mass audience that likes Tiger Woods. So he typically is not going to be the greatest audience if you're trying to sell, golf training or equipment to golfers. Even Phil Mickelson, it might be too broad. You want to start, focusing on players that might not be as popular worldwide to mass appeal. People like Bubba Watson, and he might even be too broad. You start thinking about more like products and services like Ping Golf or Golf Digest, Golf Magazine, okay? Remember what I said at the end of the last video? Think about what magazines people are reading, what shows are people watching. These are big, okay? Really going to be helpful. So let's touch on what we talked about a little bit in the last video. If you've got a seeker search type of audience, okay, the best place to really go is there's two best tools. One is just a free AdWords keyword planner. Just go to Google and search keyword. It used to be the keyword tool. Now it's the Google keyword planner. And you can go and you can just search any type of search phrase and Google is going to give you suggested searches, okay? And another great tool is Word Tracker. And this is what Word Tracker can help with all areas of your kind of market research too. Go check it out. It's a ton of great, it'll give you good ideas for content to write. It'll give you good ideas for figuring out what people are really, like thinking about. It's if you're trying to figure out a good title for an article for your content amplification, Keyword Planner and Word Tracker are great tools, okay? You're not going to figure, Facebook is not going to tell you what's the best article to write, right? This is where AdWords and Word Tracker can really, really help for that. So now, interruption display, which is really the focus, the biggest focus of this training, is let's talk about these. So SimilarWeb is a great free tool. SimilarWeb.com. It's basically it shows you a ton of affinity details. So you can search a website and it'll tell you what other websites people visit, demographic data, stuff like that. You can check that out. AdBeat and What Runs Where are both, adbeat.com, whatrunswhere.com. They're $200 to $300 a month. They're not super cheap and they're great for discovering, what other advertisers, where they're advertising on, okay? What ads are working best. This shows you banners that people are running, okay? What you can look up brands, you can look up what websites they are spending the most money on. It'll show you numbers. Now they're not super accurate, but it'll give you good broad, generalities, and you can really learn a lot here, okay? Now, there's people that have tried, but I haven't seen anything yet that does this for Facebook, okay? You're not going to find, you can't, there's tools that say that they have competitor, like ad data, like competitor analysis data for Facebook, but it's not really, it's a joke if you ask me. So you can't go out and you can't really find out, what like what, for example, what a lot of people want to know is they want to find out what target audiences people are using. There's no tool that does this. So, so let's talk about social network search tools though, as far as finding your target audience there. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and what I mean there is go to Facebook search. So you can go just right in the search box, which we'll do in a little bit here, but you can also go to Twitter. So search.twitter.com. You can go to LinkedIn. They have LinkedIn search. All these social networks, they typically have a place to search. So you can find a ton of great data just by using the searches in these social networks. All right, so let's talk about Facebook. Here's some places to start too, even outside of Facebook. Google, Amazon are awesome places. You can just search for market leaders, books that people buy, products that people buy, those types of things. Maybe if you're selling a fitness program, maybe you're searching things like Fitbit or something like that. But go to Amazon and not only search for different things that might have end up being target audiences, but go deeper than that. Like go to the customers who bought this, also bought that, right? And that's going to give you more data. Frequently bought together, product ads, okay? And then also go to check out the customer Q&As. Find out what people are, remember earlier, what people are laying in bed at night, what keeps them awake. This will help you actually. If you go to look at the reviews and the Q&As, this will actually tell you, what people are ticked off about. What people are excited about. So look at the 1-star reviews, look at the 2, 3, 4, 5-star reviews, and this will actually not only help you with your target audience research, but it will help you with your ad copy and your content that you're going to create. So now let's talk about Facebook. Basically, Facebook, there's 3 main tools, okay? And the number one, the best tool is Audience Insights. Once you're inside the Ads Manager, you're going to go to the tools section. Where this is, it changes every about 6 months. So right now, this is where it's at. Next month, it'll probably be somewhere else. But you click tools and then you click on Audience Insights. Audience Insights, Facebook search, and Facebook suggested interest. So this is when you're actually in the Ads Manager or the Power Editor, and let's say you want to target Frank Kern as an audience, as an interest, or Tony Robbins, or business owners or something like that. Facebook will they'll drop down 5 or 6 suggested interests that are related to that, and these are all great things. And the thing is, and I'll show you an example here in a second, but if you put in like one topic or one kind of interest into Audience Insights, that will give you slightly different data than Facebook search typically will, and also slightly different than suggested interest. So you want to be using all 3 of these. And I think that's where a lot of people make a mistake, is they just use Audience Insights and they don't, or they just use the suggested interest. They don't use Facebook search enough, those types of things. So, okay, before we go online and do a demo, let's talk about 2 things. One is campaign structure. So the way the campaign manager is organized, so is that you have campaigns, ad sets, and ads. Kind of like in Google AdWords, you have a campaign, and then you have an ad group, and then you have ads, right? So the way that Facebook kind of wants you to do it, and in most cases this is the best way to do it, is typically your campaign will correspond to a single objective. And so you can select different campaigns based on page likes, clicks to website conversions, video views, okay? Page post engagement is if you boost a post from your Facebook page itself, Facebook's automatically going to use the page post engagement objective, okay? And after you do that, you can actually go into the Ads Manager and you can create a new campaign using that same post and use website conversions as the objective. And then Facebook will start to optimize based on your leads, so which is pretty cool. But so you can use when it comes to your campaign, you might organize your campaigns by different objectives, also different, like posts. If you do a video, let's say you do a link post ad today and then you do a video ad tomorrow, those are both going to be separate campaigns. Even though you're trying to generate the same leads for the same campaign, and maybe they're driving traffic to the same landing page, it's still a different post. Okay, so you're going to organize your your different types of ads, kind of, different types of posts. So maybe one is like a link post ad, maybe one's a video ad, maybe one is a completely different style, or to a different landing page. That's going to be a different campaign. Okay. Your ad sets are where you're going to set your budget and your schedule. Okay. And it's also where you're going to decide on your targeting, placement, and your bid settings. So placement is basically newsfeed or right column, desktop or mobile. Okay. So you're going to separate those out by ad set. So for example, if you want to target somebody that likes Tony Robbins, and you might have one ad set that's mobile only and one ad set that's desktop, or one ad set that's right column and desktop, and or newsfeed and right column but desktop only, and then another ad set that's mobile only. And it's, even though it's the same audience, okay, you might start out having all those together, and then you can go into your reporting, and Facebook will tell you how desktop did compared to mobile. So, and then later on you can separate those out if you want. That's kind of another topic. We usually like to separate mobile from desktop just because Facebook will kind of mess up your impressions, and they'll end up weighing them where there's more inventory. And typically that's mobile. So if you want more impressions in desktop, you need to have a separate ad set there. So, but the good thing is if they are all combined in one ad set, you can go into into your reporting and find out how things are doing. And Facebook will separate those out when as long as you select that setting, which is pretty cool. So now the ad level is where you can make changes to creative, ad copy. And creative. So let's say you want to test two different images. You might have two ads. So you might have an ad set that's targeting business coaches, and you have two ads, the same ad copy, but they're two different images you're testing. So that's how you do that. Typically, remember, if you're going to test two images, make sure it's the same ad copy. So you're not like, you don't want to have a different ad copy and a different image. That way you don't know what made the difference. The other thing that's really, really important to understand with Facebook is you can't have too many ads in an ad set, because Facebook will start to limit your impressions. And this just kind of sucks, but that's just how it is. It's just kind of one of those Facebook things that we don't like. Like, let's say, for example, if you've got I remember I used to use like Quaya and some third-party tools to try and split test. I have like 48 ads in an ad set, right? So I'd have all these different all these different combinations. And what would happen is you only get like 3 or 4 of those ads would be running, and the other ones, they wouldn't be getting any impressions. So what Facebook likes to do is they try to like optimize it, and the ones that are getting like the higher click-through rates initially will get all the impressions, and the other ones will just starve. So if you want to test different ad copy and images even faster, and you want to not be kind of limited, you can do that at the ad set level if you want. So just remember, when you split up your ad sets, Facebook's not going to mess with you as much, but if you have too many ads in an ad set, they will. So those are just some things to understand. So let's talk about target audience size. This is a really common question I get, and it's a tough one to answer, but let's just give you some ballpark. So the optimum ad set size typically that we see the best results at is about 400,000 to 1 million. Okay. Some people say that 1 million to 1.1 is by far the best audience. Some people will say 200 to 400K is the best. So I've seen all these ranges work really well. I've seen smaller audiences too, 40, 50, 60,000 work great. The problem is when you start getting lower into 50, 60,000, you don't have a big enough audience to scale. And also, when you eventually get to the point where you're optimizing based on like conversions, let's say you're using the website conversion objective, and you're starting to generate some volume of leads, Facebook will get smarter and smarter and smarter. In order to capitalize on Facebook's optimized bidding, the larger the audience, the better, period. Okay. I don't care what anybody says. That's how it is. The problem is you have to understand this like as a whole. This is really important. So you have to kind of realize that the discovery period is different than the optimization period. So you kind of think about it this way. So if you're brand new, you've never advertised yet, how do you know what audiences are working, right? When we go and do our audience research, maybe you have 20 interests that you think might be the best potential interests. And if you lump like 8 of them together and you've got an audience that's 1 million, and you start to see your cost per lead is coming in at $8, and you're like, okay, that's not too bad. But what if 7 of those audiences are averaging a $5 cost per lead, but one of them is averaging like a $25 cost per lead, and it's bringing the average up, right? But you don't know which audience that is, because if they're all in the same ad set, Facebook won't show you how each of those interests are performing. The only way for you to know which interest is doing best is to separate it out into a different ad set. So I'll show you what I mean in a second here. Actually, I'll show you right now. It's going to be easier. Okay, so if you see here, this one here has a ton of different interests. See, each of these are ad sets here. So if I look at this one here, I can kind of hit edit, and it's basically Ken Blanchard is the audience, right? And you see all the different options you have down here. This is all at the ad set level. Okay, you've got your custom audiences here. You've got location, age, interests, budget, optimize your bidding and your placements, all at the ad set level. Okay, so this one is Ken Blanchard. Now, in this account, you've got each ad set kind of has a different audience, different interest, right? And so when you go into reporting, Facebook separates these out, and you can find out, how did Choice Magazine do compared to Business Coach? How did Marshall Goldsmith do compared to Michael Port, right? So you can see cost per lead, you can see cost per click, you can see everything. Now, the problem though is what happens is you start to get a lot of these are small audiences, and so if you want to really optimize based on the conversion-based bidding, typically you'll be better off if you get like 5 or 6 of them together. So for me, like when I run ads, I know what my kind of 7 or 8 best interests are, and I lump them all into one ad set. And so if you do a really good job with your target audience research, you might even be able to do this, right pretty quickly if you do a really good job of really digging deep. Just when you're bidding, when you're using the website conversions algorithm, it's just the larger audience you have, the better. Facebook has more data to choose from. It just works better. And so just realize that. But however, let's go back to the presentation. To learn which interests, behaviors, and audiences are performing best, you must separate them into unique ad sets, okay? But like I said, to capitalize best on Facebook's optimized conversion-based bidding, larger audiences work better. So there's kind of a point. At the beginning, you're learning, and so you can separate them out, and knowing that your overall optimization might be a little bit not as good, right? Not quite as good if they're separated out, but it doesn't matter because you're learning. It's going to cost you more money down the road if you don't know what the heck's happening. You don't know which audience is affecting you. So just kind of realize that and realize where you're at, and maybe you can start out separating things, and then you can start to kind of combine and kind of test grouping some audiences together. If you're in a big hurry and you just want to get some ads running and you don't want to like worry about all this organization, you know what? Do a good job in your target audience research and just put 6 or 7 of them together and go. I've done that before just to save time. So there's always this like law of diminishing returns, right? And so you have opportunity costs that are lost sometime if you're trying to organize things too perfectly. So realize that if you only have a certain amount of time, you're better off using your good research that you did and putting them together and going, than not getting perfect data. So it just depends on how much time you have, how much of a budget you have, those types of things. Think about that before you go, because it's not a one size fits all. And that's what I just want you to understand. So let's go do some research. All right, we'll do that on the next video.